And we are back with our question for all of you, our conversation on the Biden administration's ability to control inflation. What's your confidence level in the president and those that work for him? Democrats dial in at 202-748-8000, Republicans 202-748-8001, and Independents 202-748-8002. Text us with your first name, city, and state at 202-748-8003. You can post your comments on facebook.com/cspan, and you can send a tweet with the handle at cspanwj. While we wait for your calls, let's listen to the president this week. Wednesday, he was at the Port of Baltimore, and here's what he had to say about the current economic situation and inflation caused by, he says, supply chain issues.
The challenge we need to meet here, and that my plan is going to help address, has to do with the supply chain. You hear a lot about the supply chains in the news, but frankly, not a lot of people have a clear understanding, whether they have a PhD or they didn't go to school, about how a supply chain works. It says easy to talk about it, but what's the impact on the economy, let alone how to fix it? It's perfectly understandable because supply chains are incredibly complex. As long as goods and materials are getting where they need to go on time, there's usually no need to worry about the supply chains. But when global disruptions hit, like a pandemic, they can hit supply chains particularly hard. COVID-19 has stretched global supply chains like never before. And suddenly, when you go to order a pair of sneakers or a bicycle or Christmas presents for the family, you're met with higher prices and long delays, or they say they just don't have any at all. The reason for that last year has a lot to do with most companies make their product, how they make their products today. In simple terms, supply chain is just the journey that a product takes to get to your doorstep. Raw materials, plus labor, assembly, shipping, everything it takes to create the finished product. These supply chains are complex. Even products as simple as a pencil can have to use the wood from Brazil, graphite from India, before it comes together at a factory in the United States to get a pencil. Sounds silly, but that's literally how it happens. So if all of a sudden you got COVID crisis in Brazil, you can't get the product maybe because the plant shuts down. That's what's happening. Products like smartphones often bring together parts from France, Italy, chips from the Netherlands, touch screens from New York State, camera components from Japan, a supply chain that crosses dozens of countries. That's just the nature of the modern economy, the world economy. The global supply chains have helped dramatically bring down price we pay for things we buy. But they also made us much more reliant on what happens in other parts of the world.
President Biden saying it's the pandemic and the supply chain that is causing inflation. He thinks his administration can get a curb on it, a handle on it, with the infrastructure bill and the social spending proposal. Republicans, led by Mitch McConnell in the Senate of Kentucky, are arguing this. Democrats have already created a lot of harm this year with the previous $2 trillion package they passed earlier this year without a single Republican vote. It created raging inflation, which Larry Summers, the last honest Democrat in town, predicted it was going to happen. He is still in an argument with the Treasury Secretary over it. Raging inflation, and people don't want to go back to work because of what they've done already. The best way to sum up the impact of Democratic policies: if the Democrats pass it, and of course it will be all by themselves, they'll double down on all of the mistakes they have already made this year. Now, those comments are putting pressure, and the recent headlines about inflation reaching a 31-year high, putting pressure on Senator Joe Manchin. Take a look at the Hill newspaper. Inflation spike gives ammunition to Manchin. Alexander Bolton reporting that soaring inflation is shaking up negotiations on Capitol Hill over President Biden's Build Back Better agenda, giving the Senator, Joe Manchin, and other centrists more leverage to push for a smaller reconciliation package. The annual inflation rate hit a 30-year high under Labor Department statistics released Wednesday. In the wake of the numbers, Democratic aides and strategists are growing less optimistic that Manchin can be persuaded to support adding back a proposal to establish a national paid family leave program, and it's possible Manchin could more forcefully press for new cuts. Manchin has cited rising inflation as one of his main reasons for not supporting a social spending bill above $1.5 trillion. And He's held back from publicly backing the slimmed down $1.75 trillion framework while he studies its potential impact on the economy and prices. Delore in Collierville, Tennessee, Democratic caller, your confidence in President Biden, 1 through 10, what do you rate it?
Well, I would give him a 9. He's trying. It's not him, America. It's these big corporations that's doing this. They done made billions and billions of dollars up under this pandemic, and they don't want to pay the workers the money. It's the big Republican corporations that's putting us in this bind.
All right, Delore, I'm going to show you what the president had to say about working with CEOs on the supply chain issues in a minute. But let's hear from Daniel in Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, Independent. Hi, Daniel.
Good morning. Good morning, Greta.
Morning.
Thank you for taking my call, and thank you for C-SPAN. So, interesting. 2 days ago, I would have given the president maybe a 5. But now I will give him maybe a 9 because the issue about the rate of inflation is a matter of perspective. The 6% that they're quoting as a 30-year high is based upon a 12-month average. Now, it's risen since the economy has bottomed out. But if you take the 24-month average, it's only 3-point-something%. So if we compare the rise of prices to where we troughed during the pandemic, where prices fell, where the bottom fell out of the oil market and drove prices down where we weren't buying anything, we're in a much better place. We're just above the 2% the Fed wants to maintain.
Daniel.
Interesting. The woman I heard speaking was Catherine Russ from UC Davis, professor of economics, who is also advocating that Jay Powell be kept in the position he's in because he's been a very steady hand at this keel.
Okay, so Daniel, are you personally feeling it, and where? In what goods?
Inflation?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like anybody else, prices rise, but as we have put pressure on wages to rise because we have more demands. You know, people being home during COVID put so many demands on the service industry. I mean, I've had electricians coming in to do some upgrade work, and I've been talking with a number of contractors over the past year. People being home has just raised the level of awareness that their homes need work. So that's pushing prices up because there's higher demand. It's natural. But
yeah, so Daniel, do you know what you would have paid for an electrician before the pandemic, and then what they're saying it will cost you now?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of a rise, but also that part of that is the supply chain. Greta, literally it's the last time I looked. Well, over a year ago, we started to shop for a new home printer. Both my spouse and I had upgraded our home computers, and our computers would no longer talk to this computer, and the software was no longer supported. So we went online looking for printers. I kid you not. They are back ordered. They are not available for a small size printer for a home office use. But we're talking. I'm talking something shy of $500. That's it's an investment in our home office, but you just can't get them. They're just not there. They're somewhere offshore, sitting on a container.
Okay, Daniel, I want to show you and others the what inflation looks like across the country. Take a look at this map. Hottest parts of the country for inflation, not weather. That's the yellow-orange colors at over 6%. This is right now. It's in the Midwest and the South. Coasts are seeing more tepid price increases. Stephanie in Dandridge, Tennessee, Republican. Hi, Stephanie. Your confidence level?
My confidence in Biden, no, it's a 0.
Okay, tell us why.
Simple. Okay, I'm an ex-truck driver. I hauled from these ports. Okay, there's container ships sitting out in the ocean, but instead of getting more workers at the ports and lower restrictions on the trucks per se in California, they have a law where certain models of trucks are not allowed into California due to the emissions stuff. Mm-hmm. That puts a hurting on their port. because not every truck driver can afford to go out and pay $300,000-$400,000 for a brand new truck just because of them. So that limits their production out of the port.
Got it. Stephanie, I want to show you and others what the president had to say when he was in Baltimore about working with CEOs and major retailers to expedite the move of products.
So we got nearly 20% more goods coming into the country than we did before the pandemic struck. In 19 days, COVID-19 has changed the way we spend our time and our money. More products are being delivered than ever before. That's because people have a little more breathing room than they did last year, and that's a good thing. But it also means we got higher demand for goods at the same time we're facing disruptions in the supplies to make those goods. This is a recipe for delays and for higher prices, and people are feeling it. They're feeling it. Do you ever think you'd be paying this much for a gallon of gas? In some parts of California, they're paying $4.50 a gallon. That's why it's so important that we do everything in our power to stabilize the supply chain. And here's the good news. Yesterday, I spoke with the CEOs, personally spoke with the CEOs of the major retailers, Walmart, Target, and the leading freight movers, FedEx and UPS. They assured me that the shelves will be stocked in stores this holiday because they signed on a 24/7 as well. They signed on a 24/7. And they provide more avenues. They're getting more of their containers off the ports quicker than ever before. Because a lot of stuff on the ports that was sitting around, staying there. Why? Because it no longer was the product they need at this moment. And it doesn't cost them anything to leave them sitting at the port rather than in their warehouses. That's moving as well. Part of the reason why is because my port envoy, John Picari, who was Secretary of Transportation here for 2 governors, John has worked with the operators, the shippers, shipping companies and unions, and retailers to speed commerce so they can get products to stores and to your doors and to get the shelves fully stocked this holiday season. Instead of pointing fingers, we're seeing folks start to work together. Railroads, ocean liners, labor, state and local governments.
The president on Wednesday. Andrew, Fall River, Massachusetts, Democratic caller. You just listened to the president. What's your confidence level after listening to him?
My confidence level in the president is pretty high. I say 60% or 70%. The problem with what the president is having now is the Trumpers. Trump started the chain supply mess. He started it when all he did was say warp speed and did nothing to get the vaccine out in the public, and all these things are being backed up, and now Biden has to straighten out.
Andrew, what's the connection between that and supply?
Well, that held the supply chain is something like the supply chain of COVID. You have to have all the ducks in a row to get things moving, and you have to have a brilliant strategist, somebody on the top level to get the ball rolling. And Trump did none of this, and so Biden's playing catch up. Okay. And now, with the virus and with all those ships parked out in the waters there, that's all remains of Trump, because he didn't do nothing. He just said fancy words and made people laugh and cry, whatever.
Okay, Andrew, let me ask you this. Do you think that the Democrats should press forward with this social spending proposal?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So what's your message? What's your message to Senator Manchin then?
My message to Senator Manchin is do the country right. Vote this thing in, for good or bad. The trickle-down economics from Reagan, all the Republicans put in, I'm still waiting for a penny from Reagan. So we've got to do something different. The old way ain't working, and the only way is try it. Hey, what we got to lose is a lot, but we got a lot more to gain if we don't.
Andrew, let me ask you, where are you seeing inflation in what you purchase? Where are costs going up?
My heating bill and my food and my medical supplies.
Okay.
I'm a diabetic, and I suffer from Asperger's, and I need my meds to stay on the straight and narrow. Without my proper meds, I go to the booze to keep me at least somewhat stable.
All right. Hey, Jay, Walnut, Mississippi, independent. Jay, good morning. Go ahead.
Yes, my confidence level in Biden is probably about a 1. Inflation's going up. I don't blame all this on Biden because it's your senators, your congressmen, they up there spending money like drunken sailors. And personally, it's a way to stop this. All they got to do is raise the interest rate. But the biggest debtor out there is the federal government, and they're not going to do it.
So you want you want the Federal Reserve Chair, the board, to raise interest rates?
Sure. It'll kick inflation down. No question about that.
Okay.
But the government is the biggest debtor out there.
All right, Jay, so take a look at where we're seeing the price increases. This is a 12-month percentage change in consumer price index. Look at the percentage that items have gone up. All items over 5%. Food just at 5%. Energy at 30%. And all items less that don't include food and energy hovering close to about 5%. Denise in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Republican. Hi, Denise.
Good morning. Good morning, America. I just want to say that I do respect our president because, after all, we do live in America. But I am very disappointed in the way he runs our country. In less than a year, everything has gone up like sky high. It's costing me almost, before I would charge about $62 to fill my tank. Now I'm almost at $80. I go to the grocery stores. If I'm able to find the items that I'm shopping for, the prices have increased tremendously. Oftentimes the shelves are empty where I live, and everything has just gone really, really high. I think that our president hasn't done anything good for our country. And I think as long as he continues to give people money, people are not going to want to work. Therefore, if you drive down any street where I live, all you see is help wanted signs. And I don't understand. We live in a very poor state, and you would think that there would be opportunity for people to go back to work. But if the government is going to continue to give you free money, well, of course, you're going to take the easy way out. Not myself. I am retired from the city of Albuquerque for 27 years, and I never in my life have seen so much homelessness and so much crime in our state. It saddens me. I have 9 grandchildren, and I worry about their future because all we're doing is putting this United States of America, who I love so dearly, into debt.
Okay.
And therefore, they're the ones that are going to have to pay the price for our nonsense.
And Denise, you mentioned the cost of gasoline, and we showed you on the graphic of the 12-month consumer index that good gasoline, gas and oil going up the most, reaching 30%. Liberal columnist Eugene Robinson in today's Washington Post, one way for Biden to show he cares about inflation. To cross an obstacle-strewn landscape, he writes, sometimes you have to take a step sideways or backward to ultimately move forward. Right now, President Biden needs to urgently address inflation, and his first step should be to release a gusher of oil from the nation's strategic reserve. Denny in Pickerton, Ohio, independent. Hi, Denny. Confidence level, 1 through 10. What is it?
Yes, I was just calling that I don't have any respect for our president. I don't think that he can manage this country. He's not capable of doing it. He's created all this inflation, and now he doesn't know how to get back to where he was.
What should he do, Denny, in your opinion?
Actually, when he took control of the country, gas was $2.19 a gallon. Now it's $3.35 a gallon.
So should he follow Eugene Robinson's advice and open up the strategic reserve?
Absolutely do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Carl in Thomaston, Alabama, Democratic caller. Carl in Thomaston, Alabama, Democratic caller. You're next. All right. Ed, Kentucky, Republican. Hi, Ed.
Good morning, and thank you for taking the call.
We're listening, Ed.
Yes, I would rate Joe Biden as President Biden. I would rate him a -10, -10.
Why? Point to some policies that you think have been wrong.
When we had petroleum prices down like President Trump did, and the pipelines running, and they're referring to heating oil and natural gas being double or up 50%, maybe not double, but up 50% this winter, I think that is a big downfall. And I'd also tell you that my family had been Democrat for years, but this ain't the same bunch of Democrats that was in there in the 1950s and 60s. This is a whole different bunch, and they are taking us downhill.
All right, Ed, let's listen to Jennifer Granholm, the Energy Secretary. She was on CNN State of the Union this past Sunday. Here's what she had to say about where prices of gas and oil are headed.
So according to AAA, the national average of gas prices is now $3.42 a gallon. Bank of America is predicting crude oil prices could soar another 50% by next June. Could the average gas price in America be $4 a gallon in the United States soon?
Well, we certainly hope not. As I say, the Energy Information Agency is going to put out their forecast this week. The president is all over this. Of course, every president is frustrated because they can't control the price of gasoline because it's a global market. He can call upon increased supply, which he has done, and OPEC is unfortunately controlling the agenda with respect to oil prices. OPEC is a cartel, and it controls over 50% of the supply of gasoline.
Is there anything that the Biden administration can do about OPEC?
Well, he can call upon them to increase supply, and they have chosen this past week not to do that. So that is going to increase the chokehold on access to affordable fuel at the pump. And so the president is looking at all of the tools that he has.
What about the strategic petroleum
That's one of the
reserve?
tools that he has, and he is certainly looking at that, and I think we'll be looking at that forecast that's coming out on Tuesday to me.
Should Americans, in what will likely be a cold winter, most of them are, expect to pay higher prices for heating their homes?
Yeah, this is going to happen. It will be more expensive this year than last year. We are in a slightly beneficial position, well, certainly relative to Europe, because their chokehold of natural gas is very significant. They're going to pay 5 times higher. But we have the same problem in fuels that the supply chains have, which is that the oil and gas companies are not flipping the switch as quickly as the demand requires. And so that's why the president has been focused on both the immediate term and the long term. Let us get off of the volatility associated with fossil fuels and associated with others who don't have our country's interests at heart, and invest in moving to clean energy where we will not have this problem. And that's so much of what these 2 bills are focused on.
That was the Energy Secretary earlier this week. Take a look at Bloomberg.com's website today. And their headline that the U.S. Sees an oil market oversupplied by early next year. So Bloomberg.com, if you want to read about where the market is headed. John in California, Democratic caller. Hi, John.
Yeah, hi. So it really drives me nuts to know how many people don't understand economics in this country and the whole chicken before the egg concept, and how Trump just basically dropped the ball big time when it came to preventing us from having to go through issues with pandemics. From the beginning, I mean, he disbanded the White House level pandemic response team, which would have helped us in trying to reduce the fact of how the pandemic affect our country. We should have shut the country down right from the beginning. Many other countries did and reopened full bore. I mean, New Zealand, Australia, there were several other countries that did this and didn't have to go through the same things that we had in regards to supply chains. But ultimately, all of this was caused by Trump. Trump destroyed our economy. They don't understand that the economy was not doing well. Trump promised a 4 to 6% GDP, which never happened. The third quarter in 2019, before pandemic hit, was at 2.1%. His economy was already flailing. But yet when you talk to these Trumpsters, they say, oh, the economy was great and everything. Plus, they don't understand how the price of gas is controlled. It's not by the president. These are the corporations. If you look at what oil costed us several years back, it was over $100 a barrel, maybe about $120 a barrel. When OPEC decided to flood the market with oil, oil plummeted to $50 a barrel. Did you see gas prices go down in reflection to the same percentage? No, you didn't. This is all about the oil companies and profits. And unfortunately, a lot of people that are Trump supporters, they don't spend the time educating themselves with economics and try to understand how this all works.
All right, John, I have to leave it there. That does it for today's Washington Journal. Thank you all for watching and participating in the conversation. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Enjoy your weekend.
This morning, the head of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services will discuss children's health care challenges.